welcome back. Don't be confused. It's always Women Wednesday, and we try to load up with the best women in hour one. And today we had so many great women that wanted to come on that we leaked into hour two. But when I'm overwhelmed in one segment by the brains and beauty of women on set, now I'm overpowered by the sheer brawn and power of Jaden Horn on the right, Tim Collins on the left, and like we do every day, we mix it up with a Democrat and a Republican. We duke it out. I have a cocktail, and at the end, no matter what, we part friends. Tim Collins is my good friend. He's also the general manager of the esteemed Bobby Van's Steakhouse, right across from the New York Stock Exchange. And if you miss me daily from 12 to 2, you can catch me daily there from 4 to 8 in a much different state of mind. But Tim, thank you for joining us. And Jaden, you've been a contributor to the show for a while. You were down, you did the piece on Melania, on the First Lady. You gave us some reporting even on the hurricane from down in Florida. And now last night, now this week, you're our man on the street. You're at the GOP debate between these three knuckleheads that want to challenge Donald Trump. And what were the insights going on at this debate? What was the big takeaway for you?
Incoherent conservatism. So Mark Sanford was unable to attend due to a scheduling conflict, or so his people said. So the debate was between Congressman.
Was he hiking in the Himalayas at the time?
Wasn't it the
Appalachian Trail?
Was he hiking in the Appalachian Trail with his Colombian girlfriend?
With his girlfriend.
And you know what we heard from Governor Bill Weld and former Congressman Joe Walsh was essentially a mixed bag of we need to adopt progressive values and we should have more tax cuts. I didn't really hear what the future of the party should be given what they thought yesterday was the news of Trump's imminent impeachment, which we found out today is a big giant nothing burger. So, you know, the debate was,
we're going to get into
I think it was a little biased.
I see Timmy's antenna going up. I don't want to get started on the impeachment because we're going to rip that one apart in a minute.
But I think the debate was a little biased. You know, Business Insider hosted it. They tend to lean a little left. And, you know, a lot of the questions...
Business Insider, a bunch of lists.
Look, you know, I try to be as fair as possible.
Be
you know,
straight.
One of the moderators,
don't be
Lynette Lopez.
Correct. We're not interested in political correctness on this.
You know, she really framed the questions as, you know, essentially what progressives will do and what Republicans should do to capture the progressive vote.
Timmy,
which I mean, that's not the objective of Republicans.
Timmy, it must be. Must make you happy to see some Republican candidates challenge the president and adopt some of these views of yours.
Well, I think they're really just there as place setters waiting for the moment that if the bottom does fall out of the Trump presidency, that they're going to be there waiting. You know, Bill Weld is there. He's a respectable former prosecutor, former governor of Massachusetts. Joe Walsh, famed for yelling at President Obama, "You lie," during the State of the Union address. He actually seems like he's fairly sensible in these days. I never thought I'd say that Joe Walsh seems sensible, but he did to me.
I usually ring the bell if we all agree on something. I think he's insane, personally. I don't know how you see
Joe
him
Walsh,
as sensible.
And I think that was Joe Wilson that yelled "You lie" of South Carolina.
I believe you're correct, actually.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
correcting me on that.
But
it's along the same lines.
Along the same lines. And
Yes.
I will say, I don't know. He sounds more rational now, but, you know, look, I think he has a pattern of saying pretty incendiary things. So.
Look, I mean, I think Bill Weld has really put himself in a position where he has an organization that can operate if and when the impeachment goes through, and they really do find something on the president that is so damning that, you know, 50-50 Republicans vote unanimously with Democrats to say we've had enough.
So let's go back to the impeachment stuff now, okay? So the new word of the day is impeachment inquiry, Tim, and you and I had a little sparring on text last night, but I don't want to waste it for today. But why don't they stop already? It's 3 years. Why don't they just stop?
We've crossed the Rubicon, really. I mean, if today was good news for the president, God help him who the whistleblower is. I mean, if we don't know who the whistleblower is, we don't know what he was trying to blow the whistle with. We know that Bill Barr has been involved already. I mean, I think he's going to have some serious questions to ask. Hey, have you investigated anyone lately? Kamala Harris did ask him in his testimony, have you investigated anyone yet? And he couldn't answer the question.
Let me just say this. we did a little reenactment, Frankie and I, of President Trump and Ukrainian president, and we read the transcript.
I did read it as well.
Earlier in the show. And to me, I'm not being partisan. I'm talking about reading the grammatical, word-for-word reading. I don't see anything there. And I think if you read the story and inserted Donald Trump Jr. and Donald Trump where Biden and his son are, they'd be after him.
Well, let's take that as a separate issue, but do you think that it's a good idea that American presidents are enlisting the help of national governments to get elected, that they're using Oppo research that's been developed by foreign countries that we're essentially extorting?
Yes.
You think that's a good idea?
I think it's been going on since the beginning of
I
time.
think this is an incredibly naive conversation. I mean, the fact of the matter is our former president, Barack Obama, spied on Angela Merkel, clearly used intelligence from the NSA in order to extort and in order to manipulate foreign leaders to do what the United States wants to do. I think
Wait a minute,
I think there is a pattern. We look at, former Senator Ted Kennedy soliciting the Soviet Union for information about both President Reagan at the time, his own President Carter. There is a pattern here of elected officials contacting and back-channeling information, and I don't think that we need to sit here and say that this doesn't happen. It happens all the time.
I think that's a good way to obfuscate what's actually happening here.
We all agree on that.
This
happens all the time.
So
yesterday,
should Joe Biden
wait a
have been
minute.
impeached
First
for
of all,
what he did
why
when he
aren't
was
we
vice
listening
president?
to the whistleblower? Why are they trying to
Well,
squash
there was
the
no
whistleblower?
whistleblower, Tim.
Okay, well,
There was a guy
100
who
senators
heard from
yesterday.
who heard from a guy
100 senators yesterday voted unanimously. I don't think
release it.
to sing Kumbaya and have him up on the hill and say who knew what and when. Because I can tell you one thing: if the whistleblower happens to be someone like John Bolton and he witnessed a conversation that he felt to be illegal, that's going to be pretty damning. And the Republican Party will want to wash the stench of Donald Trump off them in a New York minute. That's the reason.
Which was yesterday.
That's
but
right.
then today, it was released, and the transcript demonstrated that it was a normal conversation.
A transcript released by the Trump administration.
I'm sorry. There is a conflict of executive privilege.
Well, wait a minute.
The presidency is not sitting here releasing every transcript.
It was released by the Justice
between
Department.
a former president
Oh, it was
and
released by the Justice Department. So we don't trust the Justice Department anymore in your world.
Absolutely not. Bill Barr is in the tank.
We're
There are many good men and women. There are
society.
many. The Department of Justice right now is in a lawless place. In the fact that it's Bill Barr is working as the president's protector and self-appointed attorney. There's no question about it.
I thought Rudy Giuliani
So here we
was
go.
his
From the
attorney.
left, the argument is there is a giant conspiracy within our government in order to protect the president. That's the argument, not the argument that there's a giant conspiracy of Trump trying to steal elections.
Wait a minute.
But now it's
All
that there is a giant conspiracy in our government
Trump
to
just
protect
got
the president.
I'm going to have to bring down the hammer on this segment right here.
He's got a
When
little.
we mix it up, we get so excited.
He's got a little bit of a specious
We're gonna
relationship with
take,
the truth.
Of
Trump.
course, the guys from the left, they can never stop. They just have to keep going, regardless of what the rules of society are, regardless of what the rules of Liquid Lunch are. I will be thrown out of Bobby Vans this afternoon. You're watching Liquid Lunch back after this.
That was good.
Show us your business. Email John Tobacco at jt@thetokenteam.com and you may get your chance to appear on Liquid Lunch Live. We'll be right back.